You're listening to the Really Very Crunchy podcast, and I just have to say I'm solo today. Emily is gone, so I'm just going to have to do this on my own.
He's lying. Why would you do that, Jason?
I kind of want to know how you felt in that moment. Would you like a solo bonus episode from me sometime, just going off about something?
Well, I will say that I met a few people at the Homestead conference that I just went to, and they like it now that you aren't interrupting me so much. So maybe a solo episode would be great because you would have no one to interrupt.
Wait,
just go on.
So this came up?
Yeah. Actually, more than once. And I did meet one girl who said she was never going to leave a review. She was a non-reviewer. Not going to do it.
Okay.
Holding strong.
Wait, why?
I don't know. She had cute chicken earrings.
Just so you know, I'm going to do what you don't want me to do. Because that's how I am, and that's how I roll. Are you sure? Yep. Not going to do it.
I said we're going to keep pressing.
Nope. Stick it to the man.
Well,
I'm not the man. Stick it to the man in other ways. Leave a review. That'll stick it to the man. We talk about things.
we talk about the man.
We talk about the man.
Yeah.
If you leave a review, it helps
Stick
our
it
voice
to the man.
reach out. Don't stick it to us. What did we do to you? Stick it to the man. Leave a review. What did we do to you? Leave a review.
Yeah.
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 I was a cheerleader in high school.
It
Did you know
kinda
that?
worked.
Did you know that?
You were not.
No, I wasn't. You're right.
But I did. My kids were asking about cheerleaders. Like, what's the point of them?
Well, son, they cheer on the sports.
Yeah, I said it really rallies the crowd. It sets the tone, raises the mood, motivates the players.
They motivate the sports.
So then I did look up male cheerleader lifting female cheerleader.
Yeah.
That's like in my search now on YouTube.
Yeah.
Male cheer. I was trying to show them how they do like crazy cool stunts and stuff.
Well, it's kind of like one of those things you couldn't really like make fun of a male cheerleader because
They could beat you up.
they could beat you up,
Mhm.
back in the day. And it's kind of like the same thing with like a ballerino
Mhm.
or whatever, supposedly very strong.
Mhm.
So
Yes, very strong.
not that I would.
Make fun of one?
Yeah,
No.
never. But there are people out there right now fuming that I alluded to cheerleading not being a sport, but
Well,
it has a competition.
I'm in that camp.
There's a competition.
I'm in that camp because of marching band. People saying marching band isn't a sport, and I see it in your eyes. It flashed in your eyes like, Emily, it's not. Don't even say it. I'm telling you, I have played sports, and nothing is as intense as doing 200 spins on a wooden rifle, Jason. Throw a spinning wooden rifle up in the air. I had to get stitches once because it smacked me in the face. Okay, that never happened in another sport. It is hard. You have to have control and strength. Stop it with the eyes. It's a sport. Okay, maybe not the percussion that stands at the front.
I think percussionists would disagree.
That stands at the front. What are they? Auxiliary percussion?
I have no idea.
They get carted out to the field sometimes, and then they stand there and they play because you can't exactly like march with a xylophone.
So you're saying they're essential to what you do?
They are essential, but they're
part of the team.
The sport part.
Okay,
they're the
how rigorous is it to do drums?
No, the drums
in the heat?
are marching. And yes,
there's a difference between the drums and percussion.
I said auxiliary percussion, so they're
don't
like
know
the
what that
ones
means.
up at the front playing like the big what's that called?
A timpani?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the xylophone and
So they aren't sport.
I'm saying
they're
could
part of the
see-
team, but they don't play a sport.
Well, is the manager of the basketball team part of the sport? Is he
Yes.
part of the team?
Yeah.
But could someone look at him and go, well,
You don't
I
play a
mean,
sport.
yeah. So I could see where the lines could be blurred.
Manager, like the guy who's getting the towels and the drinks for everybody. That kind of
I
manager?
don't know. I've never had
Yeah,
a manager.
they're not playing basketball. Correct. They are playing marching band. What do you want me to call it?
Competing.
They're not competing in marching band. See, if you have to change the terminology around,
Playing
might be your indicator.
an instrument on the field.
Yeah. I think you should put it into a different category of sports.
I don't think pep band is a sport, even
Why?
though that is.
Well, do you compete in pep bands?
I
Pep
bet there
bands
are
compete?
pep bands.
There you go.
competing, But I don't know. But I feel
For some reason, curling's a sport. For some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think it should be, if you're going to call those types of things a sport, it needs to be in a different category and here's what distinguishes the types of sport. This is not what we're talking about today, but I love it. Is whether or not you're being judged, and that's how you win or lose. If you have judges, I think that belongs to a different category of sport, including gymnastics.
I was going to say, gymnastics,
Correct.
ice skating.
Correct. I think those are its own type of sport. You have the sports that are judged, and you have the sports that are that test the skills of a person with a definite outcome.
I have a question.
With an objective outcome.
Would you
not a
say-
subjective? That's it. There's subjective sports and objective sports.
Okay, but would you say that an umpire can determine the success of a team?
Well, that you could say that
A
about
referee
you could say that about
or-
any referee. It's not the same thing. You're judging based on points. Judges are awarding
But
points.
it is the same. Are they not judging
Yes, because you have to have
elements
somebody
of the sport?
You have to have somebody regulating and enforcing the rules.
So kind of judging.
No, because a judge awards points at the end of your marching band routine, and an umpire is making judgments on balls, strikes, but a player can hit a ball, and the judge and the umpire has nothing to do with what happens after that, unless, they make bad calls, but that's just referees in any sport. You're going to call baseball not a sport because of the...
I'm not saying... I'm calling marching band a sport.
All I'm saying is that they are two different categories of sports. The judging kind of how you get your points. One is subjective, one's objective. Just saying. I'll call cheerleading a sport as long as you call it a subjective sport.
Okay, that's fine.
There you
I'll
go.
take it.
It's a
I'm not
sport.
even fighting for cheerleading. I mean, I totally think, you have to be. There are parts of it that I wouldn't consider a sport. The part where they're on the sideline yelling,
For the other sports.
to me, that's not a sport. But when they enter into their own competition, that it's like solely a cheerleading competition.
That's the weird thing about marching band and cheerleading is that they are, I think, the only types of sport where
Why'd you have to do this? They're the only types of quote unquote sport with the fingers.
I only say that because they're the only sports where
It's involuntary. You're like gonna put your hands to your sides. Sport. The only
I'm
kind
sitting on my
your
hands.
fingers
now.
are wiggling under your legs. They're the only sport.
They're the only sport where they support another sport while that sport is happening.
Yeah, isn't it crazy how those sports are so lame and boring? They require more sports to keep people's interest and to rally the people up to get it going. At marching band and cheerleading competitions, we don't need other sports on the sidelines trying to make our sport more
It would be
interesting.
kind of funny if they're playing pickup basketball on the side while you guys are marching around. Or
Go team!
yeah,
shooting the ball.
Yeah, we're gonna play some baseball. You guys want to play catch while they're doing their?
It
doesn't
did.
really
No, when I was in high school,
translate.
I was so intensely angry. I had passion within me that we were required to go to all the football games, and they didn't come to one marching band
It's
competition.
valid.
Like, you should make your football players go to one and cheer us on.
I don't know.
Yes. No, don't say, I don't know. There was one in our city, a marching band competition at another school. Like, those football players should be required to come for 10 minutes while we marched.
On principle, I agree with you, but at the end of the day, you got to follow the money, honey.
And then you know what happened?
What?
Our soccer team was upset that they didn't get pep band. So
Nobody
then
gets pet band for soccer.
We went to the soccer game.
That's just dumb. That's just somebody in your school's administration that is dumb. That's all that is. Nobody wants a pet band at a soccer game.
Well, we did.
It's like, I'm just throwing the ball in. Like, let me be. It's like it's a different vibe, soccer. Pep band for soccer? I'm sorry.
I only remember
That's
going
stupid.
once, but
Yeah, because when they got there, everybody's like, what in the heck are they doing? The parents are like, please stop. This is soccer.
No, we
like,
had
we went
a
to
really-
golf tournaments. And I'm trying to putt, please. Stop.
we had a great
You go
pep
to
band.
chess matches? Pawn to king 7-4. I don't know. But anyway. Okay. Sorry. I'm just imagining all of pep band for everything.
We had
Debate team.
a great pep band. So
Like when somebody gets defeated in debate. Wah, wah, wah.
okay, moving on.
I think they should go to everything.
Should we just like
Everything.
we should make a Netflix original
Pep band.
Pep band.
Oh my goodness. That is great. I love that. I do agree with you. I think anything physical that has a competition to it, it's a sport. Why not? I would not
staring at
call-
your fingers. You're
It's a
like,
sport.
it's a sport.
It's a sport.
It's a sport.
Just
Wiggle,
tapping
wiggle.
my
It's totally a sport.
yeah. And it's a debate that I actually don't care anything. It changes nothing in my life.
True. It doesn't matter to me now, but when I was in the throes of it.
But who cares about the category of sport? I know it's like when you're a kid, it's like that makes it valid or not valid. But at the end of the day, it's like, who cares?
Just
We
do what
have to-
interests you.
can
And
still- if
we
you can-
homeschool
can
our
you get
kids, so
Yeah.
it doesn't even matter.
We're getting a pep band.
I have
for
thought
homeschool.
about starting a homeschool color guard team. But then where would
Who would you cheer on? Oh wait.
where would we perform is what I was thinking. Where would we do our sport?
Just
the
crash
park.
somebody's football game.
Just show up.
No, soccer games. There's nobody there. Nobody's doing anything. Just go to soccer games every Saturday.
Yeah.
Is your son playing soccer this year? No, he's doing color guard at your soccer games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Baseball. Fall ball. Let's start it for fall ball.
I will say that the male color guard teams are really intense.
Are
'cause
they?
They're so strong. They can throw those things way up high. And
The rifles.
Yeah.
And flags. Do you
Sabers and
throw a
flags.
flag?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
That would seem kind of hard because,
No.
really,
Yeah.
seems like wind resistance and stuff would be an issue.
A lot of times you'll like what is it called? I want to say like strip the silk, but that's not what it is. You just like kind of
Just
scrunch it in.
scrunch it in.
Mhm. And
Does color guard have any kind of like cheating like other sports do?
no,
like
you can't.
in baseball you can cork your bat or like take steroids or something, but like
No.
is there a
see, that's the
steroid
thing.
problem in color guard?
I mean, I don't know about professional
Are they
level.
are they juicing in
could.
color guard?
They could. Some people
Guy-
can do like 8 spins on those rifles.
The guy
There's
throws
like
the rifle. That just did 50 spins. We need to check him for roids. Steroids, not, yeah. We don't check him for hemorrhoids. It was so itchy. It just threw it as hard as it could. Sorry. So, you just got back from Cordelane, Idaho.
Yeah.
How was that?
So much fun. Cordelane is beautiful. I will say, people warned me that I'd want to move there before I got there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was gorgeous.
Wait,
but
were those people from Kentucky?
some people live here or in this area.
This humidity.
The humidity was strange. I never really get chapped lips, and it was so dry that I felt like, and I kept drinking a lot of water just naturally. Like here, I can forget to drink water.
Well, you're basically drinking while you breathe.
Yeah, I'm just breathing.
Yeah, you absorb the water through your skin. We don't sweat in Kentucky. We actually absorb.
But I had so much fun. I met so many cool people. It's really nice to see people like who are on the other side of the screen, you know?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Sometimes this can feel kind of one-sided. I see the little likes and comments, but you just don't know until you're looking in their eyes. Like one lady came up to me and she said that her daughter had died 3 years ago, and our videos were the first ones to make. That was the first thing that made her laugh after that. And that.
Goodness.
Yeah, I sobbed.
That's powerful.
Yeah, I felt really grateful just to meet so many amazing people. I mean, Mom just saying, like, I identify so much with your content. My husband understands me better because of your content.
Yeah.
Just so many wonderful people. And so I was really grateful for the opportunity. I wasn't really feeling burnout, but it definitely motivated me to keep going.
What do you mean? In terms of just like really very crunchy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just,
Yeah.
Sometimes you can just start to feel like, what am I doing?
Oh, I'm burned
am I
out.
doing this?
100%.
But no, it was great. It was wonderful. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is I have a greater appreciation for Kentucky because it's so green. It's so
is Cordelane not
lush.
very green?
Well, they have ponderosa pine.
The part you saw.
Yeah, the part I saw.
Yeah.
They have ponderosa pine. So there's like green pine
year round.
But the ground is brown and dusty.
You're not much of a
I'm not
deserty,
a dusty.
Like I know it's not desert, like strictly speaking, but like you've never been into you love
like
to
that
visit
Colorado vibe.
Red rocks and all that kind of stuff. Very cool to see, but it's like
I need green.
You need color.
I
like
have
more
to
color.
have like the forest with the ferns and the mushrooms and the dew.
The moss on the ground that can't grow in that in such a dry environment.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's who I am.
Yeah, it's your Irish, Scottish background. You know, you got to go back to you got to get to that humidity. Except for the cold. It's a little cold out there.
Well, I heard that it's not like the cold doesn't feel as bad because the humidity. See, when it's still humid here when it's cold.
We have said that before.
Yeah, and it cuts through the clothes.
Yeah, the Kentucky cold might not reach those sub-zero temperatures all the time, but it feels damp and wet. Mm-hmm. And then like in Wisconsin, which Wisconsin has its humidity, but it felt like in the winter it wasn't as
bad. Yeah.
Even though it was much colder. Technically.
Right.
Yeah.
And snow helps. Here it's just like, why are you cold? There's no point.
It's just wet.
It's just cold.
Yeah.
But in all those other places, you can go ice skating or just admire the snow. And
yeah. We went ice skating last winter up in Illinois. It's like a 10 by 10 ice skating rink. People running into each other.
It was a fake rink, though. Yeah. They had to make it.
It wasn't cold enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. It wasn't that fun.
No, wasn't that great.
It was very cold and miserable.
Windy.
So what's kind of crazy, something terrible happened while you were leaving Cordelane.
Yeah.
This is what's nuts to me. If you haven't heard in the news, there was a guy started a wildfire in Cordelane, and the firefighters responded, and then he shot 2 people, or
Shot 3
shot
people.
several, and then I think 2
2.
passed away.
Mhm.
And this happened at
The
1:30.
day I was leaving.
At
Yeah.
1:30 p.m. around that time. You left at 12:30, which I think your hotel was a little bit further away. And then, I'm not saying like you were right there. I mean, you were. I looked it up. You were a 7-minute drive away from where it happened at the fairgrounds
You could
and stuff.
see the mountain. Yeah, that
Really?
he.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that.
What's nuts to me is that I had never even heard of Cordelane before you're going to this conference and stuff, and then all of a sudden there's this national news story of this crazy thing happening, and it's just so sad.
Senseless.
So
Just
senseless.
Crazy.
Yeah. But I'm glad you were obviously gone by that point, and I don't think you would have been in harm's way by any means, but it surely would have been even more unsettling had you been right there. It just sort of got me thinking, in a way relating to that, what we had sort of thought about talking about today. And again, I don't know the shooter's motivation.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows the motivation behind it, but it at least got me thinking about, which again, you had already come up with this topic, but how people feel the need to be seen, to be heard. And obviously this is the most extreme version of that. And anybody who does that is dealing with much more than that issue, I think. But
you call it an issue, but I mean, that's an issue.
well, I
but
don't mean
like
an issue,
the desire to be seen isn't an issue. I think it's just an innate desire.
When you kind of came up with today's topic, what was the inspiration behind it for, the idea of people just want to be seen, they want to be heard? What made you think this is what we should talk about?
Well, one thing that people always say about our videos when they meet us is, I feel so seen. Because sometimes whenever you're living this crunchy lifestyle, you feel like you're all alone and nobody can understand you. And so when you find someone, I mean, that's just relatability, right? So when you find someone that makes you feel seen, it feels good. And then I was thinking, like, why am I in this position? What happened, and why is there sort of this fascination with being content creators? I mean, that sounds weird, but like after I gave one of my speeches, people just asked question after question after question.
Like what? Or what do you mean? Like what are they asking?
I mean, people were asking like, how do you come up with your ideas? Or what are ways Jason supports you in your day to day? Or what do you do about laundry detergent smells in your clothes? I mean, like they were asking mostly crunchy questions, but I'm such a normal person that it felt like.
So what you're describing is imposter syndrome.
Well, yeah.
In a way, like why?
Yeah, just like why am I?
Why are you
here?
on the stage
but then
answering
also
these
there's this fascination when people come up that like I can see some people are so nervous to talk to me, and I think part of it is people want, like, with any person who has an audience. Do most people have a desire for that? I don't know. I don't know if I did, but now I can't imagine life without it, Like it feels good to be seen. It's sort of what I was thinking. And then people like come up to me and they talk about growing their content. How do they get bigger? I'm like, well, you'll have to talk to Jason about that because
I don't know.
I don't know. But I think people just have that desire. I mean, think about as a kid, you're like, Mom, look at me. Look what I can do. Mom, you want to be seen.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be seen. It feels good to be seen.
Do you think people feel the need to be seen and heard more now than they used to.
Yeah, I think that social media has made a platform or an audience so accessible, even though it's actually pretty hard to grow. Like your chances of getting a large platform is still slim, but it feels within reach,
Mm.
and it could happen to literally anybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of just the luck of the draw with skill. I mean, like, I do think that we offered a niche that wasn't being filled yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that, made our chances higher. And I think your editing skills.
No, I think the biggest key, like if they answer that question, like how do I grow my stuff? It's like the best possible thing you could do is find something that's not being done.
Put out unique content.
Like what do you see a need for? What isn't being done?
Mm-hmm.
Don't copy what other people are doing. Find out what they're not doing and
Right.
do that.
Yes. So that's
the key to any kind of, at least getting started in something.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't want to be known on the internet,
right?
Because, I mean, then your whole life is on display, and then AI and yada yada. I don't know all the things, but people do want to be recognized for whatever they're doing. I think that's what it boils down to, is people want to be recognized. And I think, like, you and I always have this joke when we tell each other about something nice that we did. You know those people who put out videos that are like,
I gave a homeless man.
I did this, and here's the thing, and I'm going to the store and I'm putting $20 in a diaper bag for a mom to discover. It's like, well, just do those things, and you don't have to publicly do those.
I saw this guy. He went up to a lemonade stand. These kids are trying to raise money for like this $600 bike. Well, he's got his camera on him. And he said, "How much is the lemonade?" And they're like, "I don't know, $1 or whatever." And he's like, he pulls out $600 and like, "Here you go, kid." Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, well, thank you. The whole world now knows what you did, and
your reward is now and not in heaven. That's what we always say to each other.
Yeah, like the good things you do, your reward will be in heaven if you keep it secret or something like that. Yeah, that's not King James. That's more like the Message.
But Jason and I always do that to each other. Like, if we say something nice,
or tell the other person that you did something.
Yeah.
Hey, did you notice I cleaned the bathrooms?
Your reward is now and not in heaven.
I could have had a nicer toilet in heaven. Probably don't use the bathroom in heaven. I'm just guessing. Maybe. Get a lot of reading done.
Yeah, I don't know if we should go into that.
No?
Yeah, I don't think we should. I don't even think we should. Yeah, with our lack of theology in that particular
you don't
area.
Like the Message 2 translation?
The Message 2.
You do good things at home. Good things gonna happen to you in the afterlife, yo. The Message Part 2.
Thank you for that.
I think it goes down like this desire to be seen and heard. It definitely has turned into a negative thing, particularly with online people. It's obvious when you have like internet trolls and you have people who are just trying to make other people feel bad, and so it's like the bully in school. They, at the end of the day, they're dealing with a lot more than just being jerks. They want to have a voice. They want to gain likes. Likes is nothing but I validate you. I hear you. I see you. Mm-hmm. You made a funny joke about that person's appearance. Ha ha. And it's like, look at me. I was funny. And like, really, you're just a jerk. Yeah. And so, but but it comes from the desire, however misguided, to be seen and heard, and they don't know how else to do it other than to come up with like a mean thing to say. Like in the news, there was just this recent thing where this YouTuber, man, this is a bleak episode, committed, and I know some people are listening with kids, the end, for herself. And she had other issues, I think, according to the article that I was reading. But, I mean, it stemmed from internet trolls. And I think some of them she actually knew personally or whatever, but, like, there was a lot of online bullying happening.
So you have to wonder where in someone's life can they, like, is there a certain upbringing where people no longer feel the need to be like that? Are certain personalities more apt to pander to getting likes and getting
You're
attention?
saying, are some people narcissistic and some people aren't?
And is there something that could be done in their childhood to kind of shape that? So, like, if their parents were more attentive and more...
Oh, I'm sure that that's part of it. I mean, why is a bully a bully?
But then you also have to wonder, like, if they get too much attention when they're a child, too much.
I want my likes. Where have they gone?
Yeah, it comes down to when... And I'm sure there are parenting philosophies on this, but a lot of parents, like when their kids are little, their kid does something totally normal. And they're like, yay!
Good job!
Good job!
You blew your nose!
And then as they grow, you're like...
20-year-old, hey, Mom. Good job, buddy. This is the 1,000th time I've seen you blow your nose. That wasn't very funny.
But
you're a tough crowd today, Emily. Man.
Well, you just have to wonder if that does influence it.
I'm certain. There's no question.
Yeah.
You got to find a middle ground. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and it also you have to then marry that with personality type and what people are already bent towards. Some people don't care about having a voice to an extent. Some people just want to go about their day, do what they're doing. They don't want...
I feel like I was that.
You feel like you want to be seen and heard now?
No, I didn't want to be seen or heard. I just wanted to just like be in my own little world, my small little...
And I'm like, Emily, people want to know what you have to say.
And so now I feel total just inadequacy. Why do you want to know what I have to say? But I'll tell you. But now, like when we have a video that doesn't perform as well or something, I'm like, oh, it's horrible. Yeah. What did we do wrong?
And it's really funny because I've started to go in the opposite direction of that. Like, not caring. Mm-hmm. Not that I don't care. I want something to do well, but I'm not like,
You're not waiting on the edge.
No. In fact, I've tried to adopt in the last week or week and a half sort of a dopamine detox. Mm-hmm. In that, like, I'm trying not to check how many likes we get as often. I'm not. And one trick that I've done, this is kind of off topic in a way, but one trick that I've come up with is that I try to, before the last week, who knows if this is going to last, but I hope it does. I would always have my phone on me, and I would so easily just reach for my phone. Now what I'm trying to do is have a physical book on me rather than my phone. I try to set my phone somewhere else unless I have to have it for communication, and I do what I have to do for business or whatever. But like, I'm now more so, I want the book next to me, not my phone. And when I reach out for something, needing that dopamine hit, I go to the book, not the message part too. But right now it's To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, are you liking it?
Yeah, it's really good.
Cool.
Really good.
Yeah, I told you to read that one.
Yeah.
I saw a reel So
I was reaching for my phone.
and it said if we take a fast from media technology for 72 hours, then your body rewires its reward system.
I think I've done that.
It just takes 3 days.
Wow.
To kind of break that habit, break those systems for your dopamine to re-regulate.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
According to that reel that I watched.
And then you're like, scroll up.
Scroll.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
But if you really do step back and look at like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
Then that sometimes is enough for me to be like, okay, I need to stop. I don't need to know what that girl found at the thrift store.
You do, however, need to see what Really Very Crunchy's up to.
Exactly. That's totally different, not mindless entertainment.
We have come to this weird place where we're always preaching like screen free or whatever, but we make videos for people to consume.
See, I'm not necessarily like screen free.
Designate time
and only consume high quality content. There's so much just like wasted.
Yeah.
Blech.
Well, our philosophy on it is it's like we don't expect people to be screen free totally, but if they are going to look at their screens,
why not watch us?
We make we hope to be the highest quality content ever.
I don't know if we can make that claim.
We're trying. I'm saying we're trying.
We're trying.
We even have a secret project.
Ooh. Our podcast listeners will be the first to know about it.
You will be the first to know about our secret project, and I'm like so excited about it, but I probably shouldn't be.
Yeah, I don't know. I just randomly came up with this secret project.
Yeah.
I was like, we should do this. And Jason was way more in than I expected him to be.
I immediately got started.
Unlike when I was like, we should try to conceive this month. You were like,
I'm celibate. I'm kidding.
At the Homestead Festival, there were so many sweet babies and families and pregnant women looking precious.
Yeah.
I came home ready to go.
I was joking, by the way.
Were you?
Yes. I did say this morning, like, 2's fine. Our kids want to be seen and heard so much, I can't imagine a third one ever getting a word in edgewise.
That is a thing that people worry about with big families is just not getting seen, or like people say that their parents missed them, that they weren't seen in their childhood. And that
I will say, given my personality type, I'm totally ignoring our fifth child.
Given your personality type.
You're like, I've had plenty of you. I'm done.
That's sad.
Nah,
our fifth
it'll be
child
one
is listening to this right now, Jason.
I'm kidding. It would be one of our middle ones.
That's
obviously.
how it goes.
Yeah, it's like, we have a new baby. Go play.
As a middle child, I can attest to this.
Who's more of a middle child? The younger middle? Because you're one of four. The younger middle or the older middle?
The older middle, of course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're 36, so get over it.
Thanks.
Yeah, I would say at this point that, what's happened's happened, and your personality is going to be what it's going to be.
It is. There are more of me. You'd be surprised, Jason.
What? What do you mean?
You think I'm crazy in my worrying and anxiety?
No. Well.
Yes, you do. And you think nobody else is like me.
No, okay. Yeah.
But when I went to this and I met so many women who say they struggle with anxiety and just worrying, I am not alone. There are other husbands out there talking their wives off a ledge.
Yeah.
Because the world is crazy and everything's harmful.
Did you need to get that out? Did you need to feel seen and heard?
I wanted you to feel seen and heard because you aren't alone.
I think the only time I need to feel seen and heard is when I'd like to call out people's
baloney. What makes someone interrupt someone when they're talking?
A really funny idea.
Or a desire to be seen and heard?
Yeah, if I've got a really good joke, I want people to hear it, and I want people to know it was from me.
So on the
and
flight
I want people
there,
to think, ha, that guy's funny.
On the flight there, I was so nervous. I hate flying. And that's just something that came about. And I think it's because I had children. And so then I just...
Because you used to love flying.
Yeah, I used to love it. I think...
Yeah.
I don't know. So when I was on my first flight, I was just crying as if like I couldn't...
That's awkward.
Yeah, it is awkward. The guy next to me thought someone died.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no, I'm just a nervous flyer.
Wow. All right.
I didn't want to be seen in that moment.
Well,
but
nobody
my
wants to be seen at their worst.
But it was doing something to draw attention to myself. I mean,
yeah, that's called survival. Your body's like, I need somebody to help me. And your consciousness is like, no, this is embarrassing.
So embarrassing.
Body, bring it back. Bring it back. I don't need you to do this.
I was trying to hold it in, but, I'm just like wiping tears. And the guy's like calling the flight attendant like, ma'am, can we get some tissues over here?
Wow.
Yeah.
Very loudly.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, what's going on
with her?
You should have just said, I'm going to a funeral.
Maybe.
But that would be lying.
For my
I'm killing my sanity right now.
Level of embarrassment.
I'm holding a funeral for my brain.
He was really nice. He talked to me in the roughest parts, and I was like, you can listen to your music, it's fine. Just enjoy your flight. I'm so sorry. But at the end, after we landed, I mean, he could see when I was like reaching out and grabbing the armrests. You can't
crazy.
deny that in someone sitting next to you. But when we landed, he gave me a fist bump, and he was proud of me.
I see you. I hear you.
You did it.
Yeah. We made it. You're like, I have 3 more of these to go. Wow.
Not a crier, not a hugger.
Do you think huggers, the people who are like, I'm a hugger, are just wanting to be seen and heard?
I gave a few people hugs at this conference that I was thinking maybe they weren't a hugger. Didn't feel like it.
And they're like,
you feel it in the return.
Well, wasn't they do the pat?
Yeah. You do. And
I try to
sometimes I went in
transition
for a
any hug into a side hug if I have to hug. Not you. But.
I went in for a hug, and then as I was like going around back, I'm like, oh, there's a baby back there. I didn't recognize. So then there's this.
So then you try to wrap your hands around the baby just to make sure the whole humans get into it.
Exactly.
Yeah. That lady's like, please let go of my baby.
I will say, the other day I was talking to my kids about Gideon, and I turned on this kids podcast. I don't know if I can really recommend it because we've only listened to one episode.
Yeah.
It was called Airship Genesis. So if you're going to go listen, I don't know. We listened to season 3, episode 29, I think, about Gideon. And at the end, I started crying. Maybe there's just something wrong with me that my eyes are just leaky.
Likely. Well, I don't think it's your eyes.
It's my soul, my heart,
your brain.
My gut, my brain.
Yeah.
A leaky brain.
Yeah, your brain's leaking through your eyes. Go ahead.
Anyway, it was saying like it really made me relate back to this conference. Sorry, keep bringing up the conference.
No,
it's what I just got back from.
Yeah.
Where I was standing up there and I felt just like, who am I? What am I doing? I am nothing. Like, this is so weird. Why was I asked here? But I will say every time I mentioned faith in my speeches or when I was answering questions, people applauded. Like, there is a hunger for boldness in that. Yeah. And so I was listening to this podcast, and at the end it's like, all these biblical heroes, they're not actually heroes. They're just totally normal people that God is using in in their unique ways and
Yeah.
these amazing ways. And so I already knew this, but it just
Yeah,
really validated,
right.
like, I get to be a vessel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason I was up there. Like, there was that was it. There was no other reason.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that had to do with being seen and heard,
no,
but
it's well, that's the other part of it too. It's like, how much do we actually need to be seen and heard when our opinions and things that we have to say are not does not root itself in truth? How much of it is reactive? How much are we speaking truth into the world, and how much are we just saying what we feel like we just need to get off our chest, which may not add value to anybody, including ourselves?
True.
That's in Daniel, the book of Daniel, for the Message Part 2. Yeah, we added that.
I do.
And we took out the verse that says, do not add to the word of God. We thought it was a little dated. This is a joke. There is no The Message Part 2. The one is doing its job handily.
That is enough.
Yeah. If you only read the King James version of the Bible, leave a review. Go ahead.
What is your preferred?
I don't know. I mean,
let me stir the pot amongst Christians.
mm-hmm.
So let's hear it, Jason.
So many preachers have come from the ESV that it's just kind of easier to go that route. And it's a decent, it's kind of not the most poetic translation. If you want true poetry of a Bible, like with iambic pentameter or whatever, I don't know the word. I didn't do
Poetry
marching
classes?
band.
Mm-hmm.
King James is actually very beautiful. People make fun of the King James because it's like old language or whatever. It's actually very beautiful, especially in like Psalms and stuff like that. But no, I like ESV is just kind of a go-to. I don't go for the non-inspired version, the NIV. We can go into the weeds on this if you want. But if you read the Message, give yourself a pat on the back. At least you're trying. At least you're trying.
Some people say they like to read it along with something else.
Oh.
So that they can kind of get this modern translation.
I like to read my heresy with the Bible.
I'm not saying that. Jason's saying that. That's Jason. We are separate individuals. I think sometimes people forget that we are a whole person, like our own whole persons. So sometimes, especially in the podcast, like there have been times where I've gotten hate, and it's like,
he's the one that said that.
It's Jason. Jason's the one.
I really like to pair a book of lies along with
Jason
my Bible
wants
reading.
To be seen right now. He feels the need to be heard. So I do have a personality. What is it? I read this other personality book. How many personality things can we do? How far can you dissect your personality?
And at some point, none of it matters. Actually, you should start with that point.
I just heard about a few more. Would you like to hear them?
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody about it. I wrote them down thinking I could take those quizzes.
Oh my gosh.
Clifton Strengths tells you like your top 10 strengths in dealing with other people.
I'm good. I don't need to know this.
The Color Code tells you your color in
I'm a summer
personality. No, I am a summer.
Why do I need to know my color and the personality?
I don't know.
You're a blue. Is that sad? Blue?
No, I don't know. There's like red. Red would be more. You're a red.
What do you mean?
You like to make people angry. You like to agitate them.
That's
You're very bold.
Dumbest quiz I've ever heard of.
You're
a red.
We're gonna take the color code.
This is stupid.
Tell us if you've taken the color code.
Don't. I don't want to hear you.
AEIP. Don't know what it
That
stands
sounds like
for.
an insurance company.
Just decided to write it down. Okay, but
have
then
you been in a car wreck recently? If you have, you should have had AAIP.
AEIP.
AEIP.
Then I read this book that's
You're
like
covered up to $200.
I can't remember the exact title. Something like The Personality God Gave You. And I'm sanguine.
Red.
Sanguine.
Oh.
I don't
Okay.
know that word, but one of my issues is that I talk. I just talk too much, and I need to learn to be quiet and listen because my conversation is just shallow, and I'm not allowing.
I think our podcasters or podcast listeners would disagree.
You think? Well,
I
I'm
haven't-
forcing it though. Like we're here to discuss something, so we dig right down in. But in like the daily conversations with my peers, and not that I have daily conversations with my peers, but when I'm around acquaintances, my tendency is to just chit chat.
Okay.
And not
go deeper.
Mm-hmm.
This was from another quiz.
It's from a book that
quiz.
discusses all the different,
the message part too.
Mm-hmm.
They have the quiz at the end of each chapter.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
How did you feel about this chapter in Leviticus?
I'm going to somehow trick you into taking these other personality quizzes if they're free.
I'm not paying for any more.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm not paying for another stupid quiz for the rest of my
Don't
life.
say that, Jason. So many kids listen to our podcast.
All right, children, if you are given a personality quiz and they ask you to pay for it, it's stupid.
Stop it.
And
What
don't
if
do
our
it.
child was listening to this right now?
I would say, boy, if you start taking personality quiz, that is one of the dumbest, stupidest things you could do. Because you should just know yourself.
Don't talk like that.
Just know yourself. You come up with your own personality quiz. I'm the Jason.
Nobody wants to be the Jason.
Wow. I'm not feeling very seen right now. Okay. Well, if you've been seen and heard or not been seen, if you would like to be seen and heard, leave a review.
We will see you.
And
we
I'll
will
read it
hear
on
you.
next week's podcast.
Oh, really? You're
If
gonna
there's
read
a
them?
review, any reviews that we get from now till next week, I'm reading it on air.
Wow.
On air, like this is radio.
What about all the people who have already done it? You are seen.
You've
and
been
heard.
seen, not heard, but seen. Because I read it, and we heard it. Or I didn't
We
read
heard
it out.
within our inner
Ear
Mhm.
infection. What? You don't hear things with your inner ear.
You said when you're reading, you read it as if, when you're reading silently, you read it as if you're saying it. So you're hearing it in your inner self. That's what you said.
What is
I heard you.
consciousness?
That is a discussion for next week. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you, and we hope that you have a wonderful week. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye,
we'll
everyone.
You'll hear us.
We'll see and hear you
won't
next.
hear you.
Wait. All right. Bye.